Hello, guys. I hope everyone's good today. This is something I'm going to pre-record. Almost certainly it's going to go out, but it's kind of like a pilot, if you will. So sometimes, either with pain levels, with other things I'm up to, or just time to get them ready, I don't get to put out the podcast. I've got so many podcasts from Squee Fest. I'm just waiting to put out when I get time. But I thought it might be nice to have a type of show where I could just instantly put something out. So even on the weeks when, when I'm not able to put out a main podcast, I can do this. So I'm just going to see how this goes, see if it's of any interest. There's lots of different things I'm doing now, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but that is the purpose of this broadcast. And it just helps me process sometimes as well to say things out loud. And it can be really beneficial the way my mind works, not to have someone saying stuff back necessarily. Sometimes I've just have a moment to process information without anything else coming in. But saying out loud helps. I'm also going to make this for today. And I might do this as part of the Dramatic Coffee Selfie group. I haven't decided how I'm going to use this, but I might have it in the Coffee Selfie group in time, but it's going to certainly serve as today's Dramatic Coffee Selfie. So yeah, it is Dramatic Coffee Selfie for the 11th of the 9th 25, the debrief. That's what today's coffee selfie is going to be called. And it's a new French roast I'm trying, which was in Aldi. It's like huge sack of coffee. It was coffee beans. I bought it a little while ago, and I managed to the other day when picking it up, because my grip at the moment is slightly gone, it just slipped through my hands and managed to burst. So I'm slowly grinding them down and putting them into my thing for coffee. And I've got a new hazelnut syrup I'm trying in there today. So that's your coffee update. It's not just going to be me talking about coffee. But yeah, today's theme is kind of like about the theatre. So at the moment, I'm theatre and pain management. So I'm currently in one play which starts on the 15th to the 20th of September. I will do a little plug here. It's the Maskers Theatre, which is in Shirley here in Southampton. Well, I say here in Southampton, I'm actually in Romsey, just down the road now, but never mind that now. So anyway, yeah. So I'm in a play at the moment. It's starting next week, and that is Desire Under the Elms at the Maskers Theatre. If you go to this link, which I will endeavour to remember to put in the comments, or the I'll put it in the comments. Yes, but that is what I'm in at the moment. Desire Under the Elms. It's a wonderful story. I play one of two brothers who have been left with their younger half brother on a farm which they're running and keeping up, because their dad's gone off. He said he's gone off to preach the gospel, but he comes back at the beginning, or at the end of the first act, with a new bride, which stirs things up on the farm. And I won't give it all away, but yeah, stuff starts occurring on the farm. Me and my brother disappear off at that stage, so I am basically one of the main leads in the first half, and then pretty much I'm not in the second half. Right at the end, as a different character, I come back on as a sheriff to deliver 3 lines. But essentially, I'm mainly in the first half and then not in the second. And I've just started work, and we'll talk about it in a bit. This is really exciting for me. I mean, please do book now for the 15th to the 20th of September next week for Desire Under the Elms. It is a great show, but one which was very special to me. Again, I'll get into the play in a bit, but like, It's a Wonderful Life. So I have been cast in a multitude of parts. I'll get into it in a bit, but it's going to be happening. It comes over my birthday, when I'm going to be on stage with this. So it's between the 2nd and the 6th of December, right here in my hometown of Romsey at the Plaza Theatre. And you can get your tickets now. I'm going to talk about the 2 shows a little bit, but recently, yeah, I've been learning my lines for Desire, and yeah, because of the way my character's involved, it's a lot of lines in the first half, very intense, like and some of them a bit more flowing, some are a bit more kind of interjections and stuff. So basically, if someone says a thing which doesn't directly relate to the conversation and they do a little aside, they're a bit harder for me to learn because it's like it doesn't connect to the other lines, and it's like you're suddenly abruptly changing conversation. So it's remembering that's where the change of conversation comes. Whereas if you're talking about something, kind of one line can lead you into the next one, which you've got, from the other character. And it's not helped that I've been in a lot of pain recently. So for anyone who doesn't know, I've got some nerve pain in my neck, which is causing pain across my shoulders. So it's kind of along here. And then I get pain down my left side, which is kind of in a reverse 7, down my left side due to an old knee injury. And it's since the nerve damage in my neck, my knee has been getting it hasn't bothered me much for years. It's always been there in the background, but it's kind of a very active pain now. And unfortunately, I went to the doctors on Friday and I found out that the nerve pain, essentially there's between two of my vertebrae, the L8 and L9, well, 7 and L8, something like that. He said there is a bit of compression, which is causing, so I'm going to lose all my terms in my head at the moment due to the painkillers. But it's causing swelling coming out. But he was saying that's quite common for someone of my advanced years, not my age, being 46. That's kind of common for that to look like that. And if they thought that was the cause, I'd be getting pain right down my arm, which I'm not. I'm just getting, I am getting problems typing sometimes, but I've also got something called Raynaud's, which is a circulation disorder, which my ADHD meds make slightly worse. And I think the nerve pain sort of like is causing that to play up. But I've started dropping things all the time, like the thing of beans. So you said, like, if it was going down like your arms, then we would probably do an injection or, some intervention there. And he said it is possible, but not likely that is causing your pain. But because it's there's nothing really suggesting that that's it, they wouldn't do that as a matter of course. So what he said is because as is, I really love the way this guy explained stuff, and it was really good because I'd had some very negative experiences, which I've talked about previously. I'm sure they're on a video somewhere you can find, but basically I didn't have a very good experience with my GP surgery. They've got better since I made a complaint, even though they kind of ignored the complaint. It's like they reacted to it, but they didn't want to admit to it in writing. So the response I got from them was very kind of twisted. I've just noticed the camera's slightly off angle. That's going to bug me now. Ooh, I'm probably going to make it worse by adjusting it, but there you go. Oh, sorry about that, guys. If anyone was being triggered by that, same here as soon as I noticed it. Anyway, so the upshot of this all is that basically because on an X-ray, an MRI, sorry, the guy was saying it's like you can't see where pain's coming from on an MRI. It's not like it gives you arrows coming out. You can just see where the nerves are, or some of them, and some of them don't even show up, I believe. But anyway, the upshot was, he said, so we don't know where it's coming from, so we can't really do anything to intercede. All we can do is go through the pain meds you're on, which they've changed, which we'll get to in a minute. There's the I can do some meditation. There's making sure my sleep hygiene, which makes it sound like I'm sleeping the same clothes for a year, but not like that. But it just means like not having screens in the bedroom and stuff like that, which I'm working on. I like watching something to go to sleep. It's just the way I do it. So I've got that's going to take some discipline, and I'll work on that one. But so things like that, and things like diet. You can even, like, there's some foods, and it can be different for different people, which can trigger nerve pain or can be more helpful. So there's all this stuff. I now pretty much constantly walk with a cane. But you can get some cool canes. There is that. Anywho, so yeah, so that's where we were with that. And then I spoke to my doctor because the painkillers I was on weren't working as well. They made a switch up, and it seems to have, I think it might be helping a little bit more with the pain in my shoulders, but where the knee pain, it might just be where it's different. I'm waiting for a call back today. Actually, I might have to pause this at some point. But yeah, where the pain in my knee is different to the pain in my neck. It's possible it's kind of like it's really working for the shoulders, but it's not for the knee. But I've also felt just a little bit dizzy and a little bit squirrely, for want of a better phrase. I felt very kind of like on edge with my temper. I think there is some stress involved in that though, because where I'm learning lines for this play, where my knee was so bad the last few days when I've been at rehearsals, that essentially for this play, originally I was playing the other one of the two brothers. Someone had to drop out, sadly. Matthew, by the way, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing okay, buddy. Matthew was due to play my brother, and funnily enough, we were both using kind of sticks, but we'd not really mentioned it. And he put, when he said he had to step down, that he's got some metal in his knee, which he's dealing with. But it's meant, yeah, from now on, he's going to be doing directing. So we do wish him all the best. I can't wait to see what he did next with directing. He directed this play called Copenhagen last year, which was amazing. It's this three-hander. So you've got, it's during the war, you've got Heisenberg, a scientist whose name I keep on forgetting, and that person's wife. And they were two, so Heisenberg, most people know about, but this other guy whose name escapes me, he was a Jewish scientist, and he works with Heisenberg. And there's a very clear record of the first meeting they had before the war. They had a meeting, I think it was during the war, and one after, if I'm remembering correctly. But anyway, they had further meetings. It might have been one meeting, but anyway. The records of that one are a bit more spotty. So like each of their accounts differ. Each of them has differing accounts that they told on different occasions. And added to that, you've got like other people, like they've said that they heard this, but there's no, it's anecdotal. So there's so many different varieties of the story going around that they did this wonderful job of sort of weaving them all together. And it was like them in the afterlife with the wife who was at these meetings. It was stunning as a play, and they were all wonderful, and the direction was just amazing by Matthew. And I like where they did things like they start telling what happened, and then the other one will go, it's like, oh, but here you said this, and they go, oh yeah, I did. Maybe it did happen that way. Like they were confused about it. So it was a really lovely way of bringing up all the different versions of the story and making sense of this relationship between these two guys, a German scientist and a Jewish scientist during the war, whose, it seems like greatest master was science, but maybe Heisenberg had upon times let his curiosity get the better of, looking out for people. And obviously it's very tense when someone is Gem, they're so linked to the people who are doing these atrocities. It was so multifaceted. Dry mouth. Also, one of the side effects of, I think, 3 or 4 medications I'm on, which doesn't help with doing plays. So anyway, Matthew had to drop out. I went from being one of the brothers to the other because it had slightly more lines. I suggested it to Jez, the director, who's now playing the other brother. When Matthew had to drop out, they were trying to find someone else. I said, well, look, if I take the other brother, it's got slightly more lines. It's less for the other person to learn. And Jez was very thankful about that when he then went to the other brother. I now see that as a huge mistake, only because, I couldn't have known at the time because my pain levels were manageable, but the pain got worse. And now I'm struggling to take on those lines. I'm getting there, but I went to rehearsal the other day and I'd spent all day. I'd spent, in fact, all of 2 days earlier this week doing nothing but going through the lines. I'm actually ignoring other things which I need to get done or delaying them. Don't get me wrong. Nothing's going off the wheel. The wheels aren't going off the track, but it's meant that like last night I did a session just sorting out bills, sorting out some stuff for mum, and I'm doing that to kind of just keep everything afloat while I'm concentrating getting these lines down. But yeah, I went to the rehearsal, and because the knee pain was kicking off something chronic, every line just like with every beat of pain, the line would disappear from my head. And we had for the first time we had lighting effects. We had some people in the audience, because like there was some people who couldn't make the actual play. Someone was taking photos. So and I think people thought it was nerves, but it's like it just wasn't. It was just like every time I went to do a line, it was gone. And up until recently, I was still in the script. And they were saying, it's like, we've got to get the script out of here. And I go, no, you may notice I'm picking up the script exactly during this speech, because that's as far as I've got the lines, and I'm doing them in order. I'm really trying to make sure they're in there when they are. So now what I've got to do is basically learn the lines when the pain's at the worst, because it's either one of two things. I once heard this thing about state-specific learning. So if you were drunk or even high and you learned something, then it's more likely to stick in there when you're in the same state. So I've got lines down when I'm not in too much pain. So first thing when I wake up, it's usually all right, and then it kind of just the pain wakes up. And there can be times after I've just taken meds where they're good. I'm going to try and time my meds as best as possible for the play. I'm going to have an ice pack, one of the Breaking It instantly forms ice packs backstage for like before I go on, because once I'm on, I'm on. So there's things I'm working on to try and make it manageable, but I don't know if it's that state-specific learning or if it is just that when you learn it when you're in pain, if you can do it during there, you can do it anytime. But it seems that probably more than that, just because like I'm now really able to when I'm not in pain, and I'm able to when I'm in pain. For most lines, I'm just going to have another little hammering session today. But it's just it's adapting. It's learning about what my pain doesn't let me do. It's just all quite new. And like each time I learn something, I can just add that. Like so by the time I'm doing It's a Wonderful Life, if I get this kind of pain, last night I went to the first read through for It's a Wonderful Life. I was feeling quite down about stuff, and there was a couple of things which happened which really helped me. So I was going out to walk my dog earlier in that day, and where I live, right in the centre of town here in Romsey, outside we get buskers, usually very good. Sometimes you get the odd one which isn't quite as amazing, and usually by and large it's the good ones which end up coming back again, is one thing I'll say. But there's this one young lady, and I'm so sorry, I meant to get some bits ready, like to show you, because I recorded this video of this young woman the other day, which sounds creepier than I mean it, especially when I say from my window. But it's because she busks in the centre of town, and it's very easy to film from where I am. The centre of town. So anyway, she does stuff from Les Mis, some very operatic performances. It is amazing. And I was going out to walk Willow, and when I went out, she was singing. I really love Les Miserables, and she was singing Bring Him Home, which she quite often does. And I was just absolutely spellbound. I stood there for a minute. I don't usually do that because I don't want to. I know they're performing like busking in the centre of town, but like when someone stops and watches you perform, sometimes it can be off-putting. I just stood a little bit to the side with Willow, and I just watched, and it was just great. And she saw me like watching, gave a little smile, smiled back, and just moved on because my leg was starting to hurt. But it really inspired me somehow, just hearing this. Now, she could be look at a 15, 20, anywhere in between that. She's got sort of an enigmatic look. She's quite small frame, so it could be a small frame 20-year-old, or she could be 15. Anyway, I only say this because no matter what age she is, no matter what age she are, no matter what age she is, and yeah, I just think like any year you took off, like, you know, any year younger is just that bit more impressive is all. And it's stunningly impressive no matter what. But yeah, especially like if she's 15, that's just incredible. But anyway, I push on. What will I go to rehearsal later? I had to sit down for the rehearsal. I stood up, but just the pain got really intense. So I'm sat there on stage because they were trying to basically block us for where we're going to be in certain scenes. All the cast seemed wonderful. The guy who's playing George Bailey, I mean, I was watching out for certain ones. Like, it was George Bailey, obviously you have to nail. You've got to get the right George Bailey. Clarence is a very specific kind of character, I think, very avuncular. And just everyone seemed great. Like the guy playing the James Stewart part, George Bailey, straight away I was like, oh, it's going to be great. You know, I can just see it, you know. And I play 4 characters. One of them whose name I'm going to forget, but basically I play the prick in the Run on the Bank. For people who know the show, this particular scene where there's a run on the bank, which means like basically they're out of funds. There's a financial crisis. I believe it was that was meant to be when there was the financial crash in the 40s, if I'm putting that together correctly. But anyway, there's what they call a run on the bank, so everyone goes and takes the money out. And our titular character, not titular, our main character, George Bailey, he has a saving and loan, which is a family thing, which basically they lend out money to people as they hold people's savings. So yeah, they'll build houses, they'll put mortgages which are at a reasonable rate. And they'll use people's savings to invest, and then they'll use that to pay people back. But sometimes if someone comes up or everyone comes up and they want their money back, an organization like that can't do it. So George has just got married and he goes back to saving and loan, and there is a run there. And his wife comes in with their honeymoon money. Sorry if I'm spoiling it if you don't know the show, but anyway. She comes in with her honeymoon money and he starts giving it out to people, go, look, what is the least you can manage with? And we'll sort this out when the banks reopen. We can sort this all out. It'll be great. And I play this guy who just basically is like, no, $220. That's how much I've got in here. That's how much I want. Or $225, whatever it is. And he insists on getting all this money. And everyone else is like, no, I can do $20. And yeah, so I would have done it just for that. And I don't care. Like, I'll play the prick. I don't, as long as I get to be in It's a Wonderful Life and over my birthday. How magic is that? So I play that guy. And the other 3 parts I play, and I cannot believe this, being a fan of the show, is Sam Wainwright, which is George's best friend. There's Harry Bailey, which is George's brother, and Bert the cop, who they were the original Bert and Ernie. There's Ernie the cab driver, Bert the cop, Bert and Ernie, and the Muppets are named for them. And yeah, it was kind of weird actually, because I was sat there on stage. I kind of like I was coming on and off, but like because I was feeling that unsteady on my feet, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay on stage. So I just stayed there, sat there. It was coming on and off, and I was listening for where I need to be at any particular point. Looks like most of my entrances are from the same point, and I did say it's like, look, if you can involve less walking, because sometimes people come on from the back, and we want to create the impression of a town, so people come on from different exits and entrances at different times. And the Plaza's always been really good at using this space. Like when I went to see shows when I was younger. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I'm sat there and I'm seeing all these people give these performances. I'm seeing how it's all going to be put together. and it's just such a weird experience to be there on stage, like a lovely experience to be there on stage and watching it all come together. And I think it's going to be something really special. I used to be really, I never used to know if it was my dyslexia or it was nerves because of basically when I'd read at school, because I have dyslexia, I'd be slow and I could comprehend very easily, but reading was a bit more a challenge. Just reading out loud, and it would be because like when I was at school, like kids would go, it's like, they do the crank, like this is the thing they used to do. It's like speed it up. And yeah, I've just noticed. I mean, I've got reading glasses now. This was the reason actually I had to sit down, was because I put my reading glasses on. I mean, I could read the script, but when I looked up, I got really queasy. And I think it's a mixture of tired eyes, the medication, and the reading glasses, because they are just for reading. But every time I looked up, I'd instantly get queasy. Like when I first got the glasses, I got a bit of that, but I got a bit more used to them. So yeah, I had to sit down there. But anyway, I forget why I was going into that little tangent. But anyway, with my reading glasses, I find I was reading very confidently. I even did a slight bit of characterization. I threw in a slightly different voice for each character. I've got this feeling that George's brother, he's being a military man as well as being all-American football player, which I am definitely relying on the fact that back then they were, it wasn't so much a science in sport. Football players in the UK would have a couple of pints and probably half a pack of B&H before they went on the field. And I think my physique definitely calls to mind more that time. I am actually going to, seriously, I'm going to try and lose some weight for this part. I'm going to try and look, at least so I can sell it. We're going to shave off the beard to make me look a bit younger. So I think it's going to be good, because I'm going to be the young brother. At the moment, the other guy obviously looks a lot younger than me. So you might see my hair dye coming back out as well. Let's put a fresh lick of paint on this old heifer, to slightly change one of the lines from the current play I'm in. But it's really exciting. Like, I've never had two plays back to back like this. Yeah, and I always wanted to join the Plaza Rayods, which is the Romsey, what's the O? Romsey something amateur dramatics organization. Anyway, Rayods is the name of the group which works out the Plaza. As I say, I went to the Plaza. That was where I saw my first plays, was there. When I was in school, we did this. I've told the story before, but anyway, we did this anthology thing. So each school would come up with a different vignette, little sketch within this larger play, and it was all about dreams. And we decided to do the Green Dream because this was the 80s, and we were starting to think about environmental concerns. I think we're still starting to think about it, but certainly every child of that generation, as much as I'm proud that we grew up to respect the environment somewhat, and we're trying to, I think like our generation tries to push towards green initiatives. However, like when we were children, I think we were quite fucking insufferable about it. Like, don't get me wrong, we had a good drum to thump, but at the same time, Jesus Christ, like, yeah, we didn't give our parents, I think, much of a break. But anyway, I digress. And we did the Green Dream, and it was like it was me and another friend were two youths who were like not very respectful of the environment. We would drop stuff on the ground, and then this Native American character, which I'm not going to say played because they might not want to be named, but I mean, we were kids, so come on, it's not our fault. Maybe this is on the teacher, but anyway, my friend who now works with young people, so anyway, he is definitely not a Native American. Let's just say that. He is a particularly pale white person. and he's playing this Native American who takes us to the future to see what happens, and like we're choking on the smog and all this, very heavy-handed. It's only young people can do. And then we go back to this time. It's like, oh my God, it's still Christmas Day. It's one of those moments. It's, oh my God, it's not too late. We can save the environment single-handedly or double-handedly, just us two. But I remember it so clearly. I remember going backstage to the plaza the same I think for the first time. I've been for the second. Well, I know I went backstage. That was during secondary school, so probably not my first time, because my dad was mayor of the town for a year, and as part of that, I got to see the police cells in Romsey on Christmas Day. They were empty. They're like jail cells, and for like temporary storage, maybe overnight. I think would be it wouldn't be long term. People would be in there. But they showed me the empty cells, and the police officer was on duty, and it's on Christmas Day, and he gave me one of the chocolate bars they give to criminals, while they're waiting there. And I know people go, oh well, they're getting fed. It's like they could be in for being drunk, disorderly, and the chocolate bar might calm them down. So and it's Christmas Day, give them a chocolate bar, right? Anyway. And anyway, on another occasion, I seem to remember we went backstage in the plaza. Dad used to sell tickets actually in his shop below where I'm standing right now. So there's so many links. And my parents had a seat. They like you'd get these little plaques on the back of the seat, so they'd be sponsored by local business and local people. And when I went to have an open day, because I was going to sign up to Rayod's after I'd finished this current play, but we got an email through the Maskers, the current company I'm with. We got an email through their email saying, oh, Rayod's is short player for this, to play these parts. Anyone up for it? And I was away. It was when I was away. Sorry, excuse me. Weird noise in my ear. It was when we were away. I was away at Destination, the Star Trek event. And I got 2 emails that morning. One was about possibly working with a charity, which I'm very excited about. And the other one was about this, and I could not reply quick enough. And when audition got the part, it was just perfect timing. I was going to do this anyway, but if I signed up after this play had finished, I would have missed out on being in it. It's a Wonderful Life on my birthday. Anyway, back to present. Like last night, we finished the run through. It seems like a great group. They were, as everyone is, very confused by me saying I go by Squee, but I feel more comfortable. I said, look, if you call me in, I'm not going to be offended, but just I like Squee. I was walking back, and in the window of one of the many charity shops here in Romsey, they had a display of Shakespeare. Loads of Shakespeare books. They had some costume around it, and it's like between that and that young lady who was doing Bring Him Home, it was just really it just felt like look, I'm not a spiritual guy per se. I don't really I don't believe that there's any kind of mystical kind of thing behind it, if that makes sense. But when the universe lines up so perfectly, when it shows you so many things at the right moment, that's special. Like all the coincidence that had to happen for that young lady to be singing that day. She sings quite often, so it's not out of the bounds, but she didn't have to be singing that day when I was thinking about all this. For that display to be in the window just when I'm coming back from It's a Wonderful Life. It's great when things line up like that. And I may be struggling with the pain at the moment, and it can be really difficult, but I'm getting on with it. I'm learning new ways of doing things, and the play is the thing. Guys, I hope you enjoy this. I hope this was mildly entertaining, me just chin wagging for 35 minutes, but let me know. I might do this again, and I probably will. Like, even if I just do it for myself, it's quite nice to do this. And it gives me a moment to kind of stop. Like, I have to basically all today read through lines and make sure they are just down in my head. Particularly because, like, if they're not good tonight, I'm going to have to come in early on Saturday where we've got a rehearsal. And I want to go to Rumsey's show. Last year, last story. Last year, after Willow being too anxious to go into any dog shows, and I never knew if she was going to be more or less anxious that day. Sometimes she'd be all right. Other times she'd kind of just bark at every dog. I took her to the Rumsey show and she'd been fine all day and she was surrounded by so many dogs, so many people. I thought it was going to be, you know, a nightmare for her, but she was okay. And then we went and I entered her into the prettiest bitch contest because she was doing so well. And I thought it'd just be nice to enter her into something. And she won first prize. And it just meant so much to me. And so, yeah, so this Saturday's Rumsey show. So I'm hoping to enter her again. But if I don't get the lines for tonight, then that means that I'm going to be there on Saturday. So, yeah, wish me luck for tonight. I really have to bring my A game. But just a little reminder, I was trying to upload it while I was talking, but while we were talking. Yeah, you don't get a word in edgeways. But I couldn't get the poster up for It's a Wonderful Life, so I'll do that on another occasion. But please do come along and see Desire Under the Elms, Maskers Studio Theatre in Shirley, and it's by Eugene O'Neill. It's a wonderful play from the 15th to the 20th of September, a passionate tragedy of love and greed. It is amazing. It's a really great show. I'm only in the first half, but you're going to be wanting to be there for the whole thing. And probably I've got more lines in the first half than I've had in a lot of plays. So I am so pleased with the characterization I've done. This the other thing. It's like it's kind of weird that previously, like, the characterization I really struggled with, and I think not knowing how my brain worked ideally. And getting on meds for ADHD, which helps me kind of just organize a bit better. I feel like more in tune with myself, which as an actor is such a gift. I think that's the reason why I was able to characterize a little bit the 4 characters in It's a Wonderful Life, and why I think this current character, you know, thus far is one of the most emotionally connected and one of the most interesting performances I've given. I'm going to say that. And I got some wonderful comments and notes, including just the other day about like my performance in Blue Remembered Hills. And people said like they thought I was a professional actor, which is just such a wonderful compliment. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching the debrief for today and for letting me clear my head a little bit. This actually has helped a real lot. So yeah, this is just definitely going to at least happen one more time, and we'll see how we get on after that. But thanks, guys. I'll probably set a regular day to do this, or just do it like when I feel like it during the week. But anyway, have a lovely day. Enjoy your coffee. Enjoy just being you. Until we meet next time, to borrow my sign off from my other show, I've been Dr. Squee. That was my show. In a world where you can be truly anything, please live like you've got 2 hearts and be kind. Me and Coop and Admiral Crackbar just off screen. Have a lovely day. Oh, and Willow, of course.